Did you know that most Americans over 60 spend nearly 3 hours a day managing clutter, yet only a tiny slice of that time is spent actually cleaning? Think about it. We move piles from one chair to another. We shuffle papers across the table. We fold laundry but never quite put it away. At the end of the day, the house doesn't look cleaner, it just looks shuffled. And the frustration? Real. You start off with energy, determined to get through the whole house, but somewhere between the kitchen counters and the bathroom mirror, the motivation fizzles. Your back aches, your knees complain, and you ask yourself, why does it always feel like I've done so much, but the house still isn't finished? Here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this way. You don't need endless hours or a professional cleaner to finally feel on top of your home. One senior woman discovered a different approach. 7 powerful secrets that allowed her to clean her entire house in just one single day. Not with exhaustion or frustration, but with focus, joy, and even a little fun along the way. And the results? They shocked even her. So before we dive into these life-changing secrets, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe. Because what you're about to learn could give you back something far more valuable than a tidy home. It could give you back your weekend, your peace of mind, and maybe even the pride of inviting someone over again without scrambling to hide the mess. Let me introduce you to Claribel Hartwell, a 72-year-old retired seamstress from Ohio. For decades, Clarabel's nimble hands stitched wedding gowns, school uniforms, and quilts that kept entire families warm. She had a gift for turning scraps of fabric into beauty, and her clients often said her work carried a touch of love in every thread. But after her husband passed away, the very house she had once kept so orderly and welcoming began to close in on her. Piles of fabric she never got around to using sat stacked in corners. Kitchen gadgets she thought she'd need someday filled the counters. Even her sewing room, once the heart of her creativity, became a storage space for unfinished projects. Clarabel had a name for it all. She called it the fabric scraps of life. And though it sounds whimsical, to her it was a quiet admission that her home no longer reflected who she was, it reflected what she was holding on to. The hardest part. She stopped inviting friends and neighbors over. Sunday coffee visits, once her joy, became rare. Embarrassment and fatigue took over, leaving her alone with her clutter. Clarabel confessed that sometimes she would just sit in her recliner, staring at the mess, whispering, "Where would I even begin?" But here's where her story changes. One morning, Clarabel decided she was done letting clutter dictate her days. And what she discovered wasn't another checklist or overwhelming routine. It was a set of 7 simple secrets that allowed her to transform her entire home in just one day. Secret number 1. The zone method. When Clarabel first made up her mind to tackle her house in a single day, she nearly gave up before she started. Standing in the hallway, she looked from the cluttered kitchen to the messy living room to the bedroom where clothes sat piled on a chair, and she thought, there's no way I can do all this. The weight of the task was crushing. But then she remembered something her quilting taught her. Big projects only come together when you break them into smaller, manageable pieces. And that's how she discovered her first secret, the zone method. Instead of thinking of her home as one giant overwhelming space, she divided it into 4 simple zones: the kitchen, the living room, the bedroom, and the bathroom. That's it. She told herself, I don't have to clean the whole house at once. I just have to focus on one zone at a time. Suddenly, the impossible became doable. Here's the surprising insight. Research shows that seniors who clean in focus zones are significantly less likely to quit halfway through. Why? Because our brains crave small wins. Each zone becomes a little victory, giving you momentum to keep going. Clarabel said that when she finished her first zone, the kitchen, she actually smiled. She could see progress, and that gave her the motivation to tackle the next space. She started with the kitchen because it drained her the most. The dirty dishes, the cluttered counters, the sticky floors, it was the room she avoided the most, but also the one that gave her the biggest relief when it was clean. Once she finished it, she felt lighter. She said, it was like opening a window in my soul. I thought, if I can do this, I can do the living room too. By the time she moved to her living room, she no longer felt like she was cleaning an endless house. She was just working through a series of zones. The secret was that the house didn't need to be tackled as one giant project, it was just a collection of smaller ones. And by breaking it down this way, Clarabel not only cleaned faster, she felt less exhausted and more encouraged every step of the way. So let me ask you, which room drains you the most when you try to clean? Is it the kitchen, where dishes never seem to end? The bathroom, with all its scrubbing? Or maybe the bedroom, where piles of clothes feel endless? Share your answer in the comments below. You may find you're not alone. Because here's the truth, the fastest way to clean your house isn't to try and conquer it all at once. It's to break it into zones, just like Clarabel did. And once you master the zone method, the rest of the secrets start to fall into place, especially the next one. Because in secret number 2, you'll discover why cleaning in short bursts is far more effective than pushing yourself until you're exhausted. Secret number 2, the 20-minute burst. When Clarabel moved from her freshly cleaned kitchen into the living room, she thought she could ride the wave of momentum. But within 30 minutes, her back began to ache, and her energy plummeted. She dropped onto her couch, frustrated, thinking, I'm too old to do this in one day. That's when she remembered something her physical therapist once told her: don't push your body like you're 30. Work in rhythms that respect your age. So Clarabel tried a new approach, the 20-minute burst. She set a kitchen timer, cleaned with focus and energy for exactly 20 minutes, then forced herself to stop, even if she wasn't finished. Afterward, she rested for 10 minutes, sipping tea or stretching her legs before diving back in. To her surprise, this stop-and-go rhythm didn't slow her down. It actually made her faster. Here's the science behind it. Studies show that short bursts of effort followed by breaks help older adults maintain stamina, avoid muscle strain, and reduce joint pressure. It's the same principle athletes use in interval training, except here, the workout is cleaning your house. And because the breaks were built in, Clarabel no longer felt guilty for sitting down. Rest became part of the process, not a sign of weakness. By pacing herself, she noticed she wasn't dragging by midday. Instead, each burst felt like a fresh start. She even said, I realized I got more done in less time, because I wasn't wasting energy pushing through exhaustion. Clarabel started making her 10-minute breaks fun. Sometimes she flipped through a photo album, other times she called her granddaughter for a quick chat. These little rewards gave her something to look forward to, so she never dreaded starting the next burst. Before she knew it, the living room was sparkling, and she still had energy to move on to the bedroom. Think about this for yourself. Instead of scrubbing until your knees scream at you, what if you worked in focused bursts and rested guilt-free in between? Imagine how much more you'd accomplish if cleaning felt like a series of short sprints instead of a marathon. So here's my question to you. If you tried the 20-minute burst a day, what would you clean first? Drop your answer in the comments. You might just inspire another senior watching this to start their own burst. And here's the exciting part. Bursts of energy are powerful, but pairing them with something joyful makes them even more effective. In secret number 3, you'll discover how Clarabel turned her cleaning sessions into something that not only kept her moving, but also lifted her spirits in the process. Secret number 3, the music and memory trick. By the time Clarabel was ready for her next zone, she wanted something to lift her spirits. Cleaning in silence made every minute feel like an hour. Then she glanced over at her old record player and a stack of vinyl she hadn't touched in years, her late husband's jazz collection. She smiled, remembering how he'd fill the house with Duke Ellington and Louis Armstrong on Sunday afternoons. That's when she tried something new. She put on one record and made herself a deal. She'd clean until the side finished playing, then take her break. One side of a jazz record became her timer, about 20 minutes. And suddenly, cleaning no longer felt like drudgery. It felt like dancing through her memories. Here's the fascinating science. Music stimulates the brain in ways silence can't. Research shows it boosts dopamine, the feel-good chemical, which not only improves mood but also reduces fatigue. Music also helps regulate breathing and pace, making physical tasks feel less demanding. That's why so many people walk farther or exercise longer when their favorite songs are playing. For seniors, this can be the difference between quitting after 15 minutes or joyfully lasting the whole day. Clarabel said something beautiful: when the trumpet blared, I dusted faster. When the piano softened, I slowed down. It was like the music carried me through each step. Even more powerful, the music connected her to her husband. What once made her feel lonely now became her source of strength. She described it as if he was cheering her on from the other room. This trick doesn't just work with jazz. Maybe for you it's gospel, Motown, country, or even 70s rock. The style doesn't matter. The key is to choose music that sparks joy and moves your spirit. Think of it as building your own cleaning soundtrack, one that keeps you energized, focused, and smiling. So here's my question to you. What song always gets you moving? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to see a playlist created by all of you watching. Imagine how encouraging it would be to see seniors from all over sharing the music that lifts them. And here's the best part. Clarabel realized that music didn't just make her faster, it made her happier. By the time she finished a zone, she wasn't drained, she was glowing. And with that momentum, she discovered another secret. One that completely changed how she viewed clutter itself. Because in secret number 4, you'll see why cleaning and decluttering should never be separated, and how letting go can actually give you more energy than you ever expected. Secret number 4. Declutter while you clean. One of the biggest mistakes people make when tackling their homes is separating cleaning from decluttering. They'll tell themselves, today I'll scrub, and another day I'll sort through the stuff. But for Clarabel, waiting for another day meant it never came. So she decided to merge the two. Every time she picked up an item, she asked a simple question: do I still need this, or is it time to let it go? That's when the process shifted from just dusting and wiping to something far deeper, a renewal of her home and her spirit. The moment that defined this secret for Clarabel came in the kitchen. As she was wiping down a shelf, she pulled out a floral apron she hadn't worn in years. It was faded and stained, but it carried a memory, her late husband laughing while she cooked Sunday dinner. For a moment, she clutched it to her chest, tears filling her eyes. She whispered, "How can I possibly let this go?" But then she realized something powerful. The memory wasn't sewn into the fabric. It was sewn into her heart. Letting go of the apron didn't erase those dinners or her husband's laughter. It simply freed space for the life she was living now. Through tears, she placed it gently in a donation bag and said, "I wasn't losing memories, I was making room for new ones." Here's the insight. Decluttering while you clean doesn't just save time, it saves emotional energy. Instead of revisiting the same pile over and over, you make the decision once and move forward. And for seniors, that's crucial. Research shows that clutter isn't just messy, it increases stress hormones and can even impair focus and memory. By donating as you go, you lighten your space and your mind at the same time. Clarabel said the more she practiced this, the easier it became. A duplicate mixing bowl? Gone. A chipped mug? Out. A stack of old magazines? Recycled. Each item out of her home felt like a small weight lifted from her shoulders. And here's the beauty. Those items went on to serve someone else, giving them new life instead of gathering dust. So here's my challenge for you. As you clean, don't just polish what's there. Ask yourself, does this still serve me? If the answer is no, let it bless someone else. And tell me in the comments, what's the hardest item you've ever let go of? You might find your story inspires another senior to finally release something weighing them down. By combining cleaning with decluttering, Clarabel didn't just end up with a cleaner home, she ended up with a lighter heart. And that momentum carried her into her next discovery. Because in secret number 5, she uncovered a simple trick with one basket that saved her hours of frustration and trips back and forth across the house. Secret number 5. The one basket rule. Clarabel had made great progress by now, but there was still one thing slowing her down: constant back and forth trips. She'd pick up a pair of shoes in the living room and carry them to the bedroom. Then she'd find a teacup in the bedroom and walk it back to the kitchen. Each time, she lost not just minutes, but momentum. By midday, she realized she was wasting more energy moving items around than actually cleaning. That's when she discovered her next secret: the one basket rule. She grabbed a simple laundry basket and decided it would be her catch-all container. As she worked through each zone, anything that didn't belong in that room went straight into the basket. Shoes, magazines, a sweater, even mail, it all went in. She didn't stop to deliver it to its rightful place. She just kept moving, focused only on finishing the zone she was in. At the end of her cleaning cycle, she took 10 minutes to sort through the basket, dropping items in their correct spots. The difference was astonishing. What used to take her hours of zigzagging around the house suddenly felt effortless. She laughed and said, "That one basket saved me a mile's worth of walking back and forth." Here's the insight. For seniors, wasted steps aren't just tiring, they can be risky. Extra trips increase the chance of slips, falls, or painful joint strain. By using one basket, you conserve energy, protect your body, and keep your focus where it belongs, on completing the task in front of you. It's a system of efficiency that makes cleaning faster, smoother, and less overwhelming. Clarabel said she even began to look forward to the basket reveal at the end. It felt satisfying to see a pile of misplaced items shrink back into order in just a few minutes. And she realized something deeper too. Her basket wasn't just holding items. It was holding distractions. By putting them aside, she was learning the power of staying focused until the job was truly done. Now, let me turn this over to you. Would you try the basket method, or do you already use it? Drop your answer in the comments. Your tip might just help another senior discover a way to clean smarter, not harder. With her one basket rule in place, Clarabel breezed through the rest of her zones with far less stress and strain. And yet, what made the biggest difference wasn't just organization. It was the way she treated herself in the process. Because in secret number 6, you'll see how she added rewards and small moments of joy that kept her motivated from start to finish. Secret number 6, the rest and reward ritual. By the afternoon, Clarabel had already worked her way through several zones of the house. The kitchen was spotless, the living room was in order, and her basket trick had saved her more steps than she could count. But even with all the progress, she could feel the familiar weight of fatigue creeping in. Her back ached. Her legs felt heavy. And in the past, this was always the moment she would give up. She'd think, "I've done enough for today. The rest will have to wait." But this time was different. Clarabel had made a promise to herself. No guilt, no pushing through exhaustion. Instead, she introduced a secret that kept her energy alive, the rest and reward ritual. After finishing each zone, she gave herself a small celebration. Sometimes it was a cup of her favorite chamomile tea enjoyed on her porch. Other times it was a quick 5-minute call with her granddaughter, who always made her laugh. These moments didn't feel like wasted time, they felt like motivation. Here's the insight. Research shows that reward-based systems actually increase follow-through. When the brain knows a positive break is coming, it stays more focused and less resistant to the work ahead. For seniors especially, this can be the difference between stopping halfway and finishing strong. Clarabel explained it beautifully. For the first time in years, cleaning didn't feel like punishment. It felt like a rhythm of work and joy. I'd scrub, then sip tea. I'd tidy, then hear my granddaughters giggle. The rewards gave me something to look forward to, and that carried me through the entire day. The shift was profound. Cleaning stopped being a dreaded chore and became a celebration of progress. Each reward reminded Clarabel that caring for her home was also about caring for herself. She wasn't just maintaining a space, she was nurturing her spirit. And maybe this is the piece so many overlook. Rest isn't weakness. Rest is part of the work. By honoring her body's need for breaks and pairing them with joy, Clarabel not only kept moving, she kept smiling. So let me ask you, what small reward would keep you motivated while cleaning? Maybe it's a favorite snack, a short prayer, or listening to your favorite song. Share it in the comments. You never know who you'll inspire to try something new. And with every sip of tea, every quick laugh, Clarabel's home got cleaner and her heart got lighter. But she still had one more secret left, the one that tied it all together. Because secret number 7 wasn't just about cleaning. It was about transforming how she saw her home, her energy, and even herself. Secret number 7, the transformation mindset. By the time the sun dipped low that evening, Clarabel walked through her home with a smile she hadn't felt in years. The kitchen counters gleamed, her living room was free of piles, the bedroom felt restful, and even the bathroom sparkled. But the real change wasn't just in the surfaces, it was in her spirit. She said, My home doesn't just look clean. It feels alive again. That's the power of the transformation mindset. Cleaning isn't only about dusting shelves or scrubbing floors. It's about giving yourself back dignity, energy, and freedom. For Clarabel, this meant she no longer felt embarrassed by her space. The very next morning, she brewed coffee and, without hesitation, invited her neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, to come over. For the first time in years, she opened her door with pride instead of apology. And here's the takeaway. When you shift your mindset from "I have to clean" to "I'm creating a home that supports my life," everything changes. The task stops being a burden and becomes an act of love, for yourself and for those you welcome into your space. Clarabel's story reminds us that cleaning isn't about chasing perfection. It's about creating peace. It's about reclaiming your mornings, restoring your confidence, and opening your door to life again. So here's my question to you. What would change in your life if your home felt truly alive again? Would you invite your friends over more often? Would you finally relax without guilt? Share your answer in the comments. You may find that your story encourages someone else to start their own transformation today. Because at the end of the day, cleaning isn't about dust, it's about dignity, energy, and the freedom to welcome life back in. So what can we learn from Clarabel's story? Her transformation didn't happen by magic. It happened because she discovered 7 simple but powerful secrets. She started with the zone method, breaking her house into manageable parts. She leaned on the 20-minute burst, giving herself structure and stamina. She turned chores into joy with the music and memory trick. She lightened her spirit by decluttering as she cleaned. She saved her energy with the 1 basket rule. She kept herself motivated through the rest and reward ritual. And finally, she embraced the transformation mindset, realizing that cleaning wasn't about perfection. It was about reclaiming her dignity, energy, and peace of mind. Clarabel's home became clean, yes, but more importantly, her home became hers again. She no longer hid from visitors or felt drained by clutter. Instead, she opened her door with confidence and invited life back in. Now it's your turn. Which of these secrets will you try first? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your plan. And if Clarabel's journey inspired you, hit like, tap subscribe, and share this video with a friend who deserves a fresh start in their home too. And stay tuned, because in our next video, I'll be exposing the 5 cleaning myths that waste seniors' time every single week. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Remember, your home should be a place of comfort, not chaos. And every step you take brings you closer to that freedom.